Good afternoon, Trump's family. Welcome back to my channel. Have a good day and God bless you. Let's get into the news. And I think Kari Lake probably needs to add some additional security to our security team that she already has. Because the Democrat Party, the mainstream media are absolutely painting a target on her back. I'm sure she gets all kinds of threats on a daily basis, but they stretch are becoming more overt as time passes by, because Democrats continue to point or paint their opponents as these absolute, incarnation of Hitler. And they feed this imagery to their unhinged base that they already have. And these unhinged base people act upon the dog whistles blown by the Democrat Party. I mean, look no further than what happened in 2017. With the baseball field congressional Republicans due to acting on the orders of Rachel Maddow and Bernie Sanders and their rhetoric. Take a look at the young man that was mowed down in Nebraska, the unhinged man they're taking his orders from, of course none other than Joe Biden, when he said that extreme MAGA was a threat to democracy, right? We see these examples. We see the two New Jersey individuals Republicans assassinated in their homes and earn their car, and we continue to see this assault on Republicans and increases. Well, we have another here involving Kari Lake, this time where a man was trained to run over Kari Lake in Iowa. So let's go and dive into what we have here. It says angry. Yeah, that's typically how you would describe a Democrat voter. Angry threat. Any man threatened to drive a Jeep into Kari Lake event in Iowa, police reports. Yeah, that's right. Kari Lake on Sunday reportedly received a threat while hosting an event in Des Moines, Iowa by an angry threatening the man minutes after she arrived at the venue. The Gateway Pundit reported that Kari Lake sold out Iowa rallies of hundreds of patriots who want election integrity in their state. Angry police department reports the man threatened to drive his Jeep through the barn doors into the massive crowd of patriots. Police reports state that the man fled the scene in his yellow Jeep Renegade. As officers arrived, police are still looking into this matter to determine if it was appropriate to put out a release. Kari Lake War Room texts or tweeted a message that Kari Lake and supporters will not be intimidated by leftist extremist threats. Hay said, "We are extremely thankful to the men and women in uniform that protect our events, as well as our top-notch security team for helping keeping us all safe. If anyone thinks that we are deterred by the threats of violence, they do not know Kari Lake or her supporters very well at all. So we continue to see the stuff that's taking place with people have the right people that are demanding election security, more election integrity, or people that are just fighting for the rights of course their constituents are in this case the people that really love Kari Lake and they want to see Kari Lake succeed in this lawsuit that she has currently appealing in the Court of Appeals in Arizona. And so there's a lot that is going on right now and think Kari Lake needs to be better protected and make sure that we can avoid any of these absolute psychopaths from getting close to her." And some significant news: secret China donations to University of Delaware soared after the opening of the Biden Institute. A second university has been found to have received more than $6.7 million in anonymous donations from China, including direct funding from the Chinese government after Joe Biden set up a program there in his name. According to a Government Accountability Institute analysis, the revelation comes following reporting that anonymous China-linked funds flowing to the University of Pennsylvania almost tripled after the inauguration of the Penn Biden Center, which illegally housed classified documents on March 13 of 2017. Less than 7 weeks after concluding his second term as Vice President, Joe Biden announced the funding of the Biden Institute at his home state University of Delaware UD. According to the announcement, part of Biden's vision for the Institute as an annual conference at UD similar to the World Economic Forum or the Aspen Institute. At the time of Biden's announcement at UD, multiple members of the Biden family were working on deals worth millions of dollars with foreign businessmen linked to the highest levels of Chinese intelligence. And Biden's other university program at the University of Pennsylvania was apparently housing classified documents from the Obama-Biden administration in an improper way. Prior to hosting the Biden Institute, UD had never disclosed any funding from China. 1 year later, just 2 months after the Penn Biden Center opened its D.C. office, anonymous donations from China to UD skyrocketed. The first payment came in April of 2018 in the amount of $3.2 million from an anonymous donor in China. In December, just a few months later, another anonymous donation from China arrived at $1.8 million. A third anonymous China-linked payment for $624,000 arrived in December of 2019 and 2020, the year that Biden was campaigning for president. Anonymous Chinese state-linked entities sent 3 more payments totaling $1 million to UD, the bulk of which arrived after Biden had been declared as the president-elect. Neither the Biden Institute nor the UD have responded to requests to identify the Chinese donors, or explain why the Chinese government decided to fund UD after the Biden Institute was created. Perhaps the most mysterious aspect of the Biden Institute is how it was conceived. The initial idea for the Biden Institute at UD was apparently hatched by Joe's son Hunter Biden, while Joe was still the vice president. In March of 2016, Hunter Biden met with UD's incoming president, Dr. Dennis DeSantis, as Hunter and his business associates were making plans to create a stage to promote the Biden brand emails from Hunter's abandoned laptop show. Other emails on the laptop indicate that Hunter and his business associates were concerned about boosting Joe's, quote, future earnings potential while Joe was still the vice president. Idaho legislature passes bill to move Idaho-Oregon border to include a large swath of eastern Oregon. The Greater Idaho Bill, which would move the Oregon-Idaho border to include a large swath of eastern Oregon, has passed the Idaho House of Representatives. The bill authorizes Idaho legislators to begin talks with Oregon about relocating the state line. During debate on the floor of the House, proponents of the bill cited the desirability of applying Idaho law to eastern Oregon as a way to move Oregon drug laws further away from Idaho's current population centers. The Greater Idaho Movement, a secession movement with allies in both the Oregon and Idaho state legislatures, is making progress in its efforts to convince 15 conservative counties in rural Oregon to secede and join Idaho. 11 eastern Oregon counties have already voted. Proponents also cited an economic analysis from the Claremont Institute that shows that rural Oregon counties would be a net benefit to Idaho financially. According to the report, Mike Pence says he's going to fight special counsel's subpoena. Former Vice President Mike Pence stated that he will fight back against special counsel Jack Smith's, quote, unconstitutional and unprecedented subpoena of him. Pence, in an interview right before he hit the road in Iowa to promote his new efforts to protect parental rights, said that the subpoena that the special counsel investigating former President Donald Trump had issued to him does not pass legal and constitutional muster. Quote, the special counsel's subpoena for me as a former vice president to appear before the grand jury is unconstitutional and unprecedented. Pence said, he continues, quote, I'm going to fight the Biden administration's Department of Justice on this. I will tell you that I hope as people reflect on my career, they will recognize my commitment as to the Constitution of the United States. Pence explained that he believes this subpoena violates the U.S. Constitution's speech and debate clause, as it would compel him to testify about his role as President of the U.S. Senate, a role that the Vice President of the United States also plays. He said his position is one that the Department of Justice has taken at least twice in the past 2 years during Biden's administration about him in particular, as well, raising questions about why the Department of Justice is now being inconsistent in this regard. Pence says he believes the department's inconsistency fits with a pattern of leftist weaponization of the government against conservatives under the Biden administration. House GOP seeks FBI investigation into Biden appointee over espionage concerns. A group of House Republicans has called upon the FBI Director Christopher Wray to investigate a Biden administration appointee over his alleged connections to Chinese intelligence organizations. Quote, it has come to our attention that Biden has appointed an individual with existing Chinese Communist Party ties to an adversary role. GOP Representative Lance Gooden and 5 other representatives wrote to Wray. The lawmakers took issue with Dominic Ng's appointment to the Asia-Pacific Economic Cooperation Business Advisory Council, pointing to his past work and claiming that, quote, recent and substantial allegations discovered Mr. NX's past connections to U.S.-based Chinese third-party entities. They continue, quote, we'd request the FBI investigate and provide a report to Congress on the extent of Mr. Ng's knowledge of sensitive information, as well as any potential violations of the Espionage Act, they demanded of Wray. They continue, quote, between 2013 and 2017. He served as the executive director of the China Overseas Exchange Association, which is a front organization for the United Front Work Department. They asserted they continue, quote, UFWD is a Chinese intelligence service, whose mission is to liaison with foreign political parties, influence operations and collect intelligence, quote, Organizations like UFWD and its affiliated groups play an increasingly important role in Chinese foreign policy and allow political actors like Mr. Ng to gain influence in sensitive American institutions to advocate for the interests of Communist China. They conclude, quote, "This tactic is regularly employed by the CCP to infiltrate governments and influence policies for CCP-oriented outcomes. If the Biden administration does not take the CCP seriously, our leaders are risking an endless slew of national security breaches." They warned the FBI director. Senate Democrats tell lower energy bills after energy costs spiked 8.7%. Senator Chuck Schumer on Wednesday suggested Democrat lawmakers tout lower energy bills to their constituents after energy costs spiked 8.7% in the month of January. Schumer penned the letter with Senator Debbie Stabenow, the Democratic Policy and Communications Committee chair, to encourage Democrat senators to use the upcoming recess as an opportunity to champion lower energy bills. Quote, "Thanks to the good work of Biden and his administration, there is a team for us to partner with as we work to turn this legislation into good-paying jobs, lower costs and new economic opportunities for the American people." The letter began in the last section of the letter. Schumer and Stab and all say constituents have the opportunity to enjoy lower energy bills because of tax credit passed in the so-called Inflation Reduction Act. Democrats pushed to the talking point as energy prices increased in January. According to the Consumer Price Index released on Tuesday, the cost of energy spiked 8.7% in January of 2023. From January of 2020 to moreover, and just 1 month from December of 2022 to January of 2023, energy costs spiked by 3.1%. Energy services are also affected by the soaring energy costs. In 1 year, the cost of energy services has soared 15.6%. The CPI report found from the summer of 2022 to January of 2023, prices increased by 3.4%. Alright, thanks for being here, folks. Please receive a big hug from all of us. Let me know down below if you like these updates. Thank you very much. WWG